receiver just hammers it for the line. Luke White! You've never seen somebody run this fast in your life. Gets the pass away. It's Champagne Rugby! The dive, the bomb, the try! Hello rugby fans, the wait is finally over. I'm Dallin Stanford and welcome to the first edition of Raptors Weekly for the 2020 season. In this episode, we'll hear directly from the team's leaders, get you acquainted with some of the new faces on the squad, have a little question and answer fun, and look ahead to the Week 1 clash with Houston. Let's begin with Colorado's new head coach, Peter Borlase. Pete, congratulations on the new role. You've of course been with the Raptors for a few seasons, but what's it like being the head coach now?
Obviously a lot more responsibility. The buck starts and stops with me. Obviously in regards to the off-season recruiting and the like, it's been very much immersed in that part of the game, and also working alongside Mark Bullock and our manager Pete Pasker in regards to operating budgets and the like.
Training camp, how was that? And of course you've played a couple of preseason fixtures as well. How do things go?
Starting before Christmas, big emphasis on cohesion and gelling the team. I think we made some real positive steps, and then obviously after we turned after Christmas, leading into these last couple of preseason games, the main thing is gathering momentum and getting W's. So even though we scraped through on a couple of preseasons, confidence is there, and we show that we can win those gritty games on the road. So I think the character is slowly showing through in the team.
And what's it been like? You have 14 new players. That's about half the squad. Integrating them, how has that been going?
Obviously, with player mobility these days and the like, nature of the beast is guys are moving around. The big thing is getting them in the environment, getting them bought into the system. Obviously, the foreign players coming from out of the country, being on calls with them and sort of prepping them what's ahead of them, both in the facility and what to expect and living day to day.
And what specific areas have you looked at last year's season to evaluate to focus on this year?
Well, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, with the turnover in personnel, it's a different season. So pretty much what we did is over the off season, Luke Gross, Steve Brett and myself got together and collaborated around sort of the way we want to play. I guess February 8th will show that. And ultimately through the pre-season, we tried to up-tempo things, have guys in positions where they can express themselves on the field, and also giving them plays and systems where they can do that. Again, it'll be work in progress. So we'll see February 8th how we get on.
Next up, we spoke with Captain Fantastic Luke White about his thoughts on the 2020 Raptors, plus put him in the hot seat for some rapid-fire Q&A. Lukey, you led the side last year, pre-season as well, taking charge. What's it like with this new squad, 2020?
It's been fantastic so far, the feeling amongst the group, but obviously a lot of changes from last season, and all for the better. The stepping stones and the just everything that's been set up, and it's sort of setting us up for success, and the building blocks that are being put in place by the new staff, the coaching staff, Pete Borlase, Steve Brett, Luke Gross, Mark Bullock, Peter Pask, they've all been putting in huge 14-hour, 16-hour days sometimes to get things together for us. And you can see the culture that they're trying to build here, and it's really sticking on with the fellas. And obviously a large amount of turnover from new players coming in and old players leaving, and we're gelling really good so far, and it's looking to shape up to be a really fun season and successful season.
What is the name of the Austin franchise, the new name?
The Gilgronis.
Beautiful. Now, one right. What is a Gilgroni or Gilgronis?
Some sort of drink, apparently, I heard, but...
Correct. Down again. Luke White is a former child actor who hit it big in Hollywood in 1998. True or false?
Absolutely true.
Correct. 3 out of 3. Who were the runners-up to Seattle Seawolves in the inaugural 2018 final?
The Glendale Raptors.
Old Glory DC signed a Rugby World Cup winner called the Beast. What's his real name?
Tendai Matawira.
Wow, flippin' hell. Who is the best hair in Colorado? Chad Goff, Luke White, or Blake Rogers?
I've got none, so it's Blake Rogers. By far.
Again, correct. 6 out of 6. Raptors used to have a wing that could motor called Harley Davidson. True or false?
Absolutely true.
Infinity Park was the first rugby-specific stadium to be built in the USA. True or false?
True.
Goodness, I should change the questions. Oh, here we go. How many hours does Johnny Ryberg spend each day in the gym? 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours?
I'm going to have to say 12 hours.
Correct again. Who sells more dummies, Denver Hospital or Ata Malifa?
Sneaky Malifa.
It's 10 out of 10. Luke White is our champion. No one else. Give up. And finally, the Raptors Director of Rugby, Mark Bullock, explained the name change from Glendale to Colorado.
When we began, we were the Glendale Raptors because part of our intent was to rebrand the city of Glendale. And in the last 15 years, we've probably done that quite successfully. But now that we're a professional rugby team, we really need the opportunity to brand regionally because we are the regional rugby team of the Rocky Mountains. And so we have fans that are in Nebraska and Kansas, New Mexico and Wyoming, Montana, and we want to include them as part of what we're doing. So Colorado Raptors makes a lot of sense to us.
As a result of retirements, player movement, and the expansion draft, we welcome a stack of new exciting Raptors this season, so we thought you'd like to learn a little bit more about them and their impressions on their new team. Welcome to the Raptors family. You've been here for about a week or so. What's it been like being in Colorado?
Been fantastic. I've loved every minute of it. I had high expectations coming to America, and they've just been blown apart.
Let's talk about the past. Growing up in New Zealand, rugby mad country, what was that like as a youngster?
It's one of those things you kind of don't think you'd go any other way. I love my sport. I played a lot of sport growing up, but there was never any doubt that I was going to try and become an All Black. So I started when I was about 9 years old. Played all my school footy in Christchurch in New Zealand, which is quite funny. We always sort of remember where we played school rugby. It's a big thing, and it's something that it's a feeling that you'll never feel again as a rugby player because it's very passionate and stuff like that. And from there, I played in Canterbury with the dream of making the Crusaders, and that didn't sort of happen. So I had to sort of decide to apply my trade elsewhere. So I thought about Southland in New Zealand. So I think Southland is probably like your Nashville, Tennessee, or Kentucky, or something like that. And I was raised in the country for a little bit. So whilst I claim I've got a bit of a country got a few country blood cells running through my veins, I could never fool the Southlanders. But I guess they were a great bunch of people, and that was sort of like the kickstart of my career. And then from there I went to Romania. So rugby's just been a massive part of my life, and it's the best job in the world for me.
Nick, welcome back to Colorado. You've been here before. You play with the Merlins. What brought you back, my friend?
Great opportunity with the new coaching staff, and excited to be part of Major League Rugby Year 3.
Let's go back to growing up. You come from a sporting family, is that right? Tell us more.
So my mom and dad both played rugby, actually, so no pressure on me whatsoever, but I had to play.
And did they introduce you to the game as a youngster? When's your first game?
Yeah, I was around it. Like as a kid, I was going to my dad's games. He's still playing, actually, which is,
Get out.
Yeah, a little bit too much, but playing, reffing, and coaching, so it's in his blood. It's in my blood, too, and I just started playing when I was 12, got a first taste of contact at a Cal rugby camp, and just loved it.
Training camp, how have things gone for you, and particularly focus on the back line?
It's been good. It's been good. Tough. The weather is not the same as San Diego, so that's been interesting. But good back line, a lot of skill. Out to Malifa especially has been a great voice for us, and we're really starting to play expansive, good rugby.
What's the vibe like? Obviously, it's tough. You've come, and even though you've been here before, again, a lot of new players, about 14 in the squad. How have you guys gelled?
Really well. The main thing about this team actually that I didn't mention was there's no egos. No one's like trying to step forward and say I'm in charge. We're all pretty humble guys. So it's been a great group of guys to work with. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's happy. Everyone's bought in.
Talk a bit about the preseason and how the forwards particularly been going.
First, obviously, I'm the oldest one in the forwards, probably in the whole team as well. And I think the way I see all these youngsters, I think some of them they still don't realize how talented and how good they can become. But it's all learning in the book race and each day by day. But in our forwards particularly, I believe we can improve a lot of stuff. I mean, the last two preseason, I think in set pieces, line out, scrums. In the scrums, it's still a lot of learning and still a lot of other things to try to help the young front row and our young forwards. But it's going to be a huge season for us. And the good thing that I can see is everyone's keen to learn, everyone's keen to go out there and represent the Raptors.
Tell us about your background, growing up there, and how did you get into the sport of rugby?
So I'm from down south in Ireland, in a place called Cork. Started playing rugby when I was about 4 or 5 at a school called Christian Brothers College. It's a big rugby school back home. So just couldn't play through there for, I suppose, until I finished up at about 18, and then went on into the Munster underage, and was lucky enough then to get an academy spot for a bit, and finished up then there. played club rugby at home at Cork Constitution, had a bit of success there, and then headed off to the south of France for a year, and now I'm over here.
What enticed you about the Raptors particularly and Major League Rugby to get you signed here?
I suppose it was put to me back in, I think, March or something, that there might be an opportunity over here, and I've always wanted to live in America, so it was kind of tied in well together. And I kind of asked, I had a few buddies playing with a couple of other teams. I asked them about the place, and when they came down, and I heard nothing but good things. So I suppose that's always a massive positive when you're trying to make a big decision to move away from home. So everything was good. Facilities are brilliant, coaching's brilliant. All the lads, it's a great bunch there. So no complaints so far. So yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, let's talk about the team, the culture that's been developing. Obviously, a new head coach, but Pete has been around here in the past. How's it been for you?
Yeah, settling really well. Like there's, I think a couple of lads ahead before me there just touching it, that there's no egos in the group. So I mean, it's very easy to fit in when you don't have any cliques. Like, so you kind of get around to everyone. You're kind of friendly with everyone, and yeah, the coaches are brilliant. Like, you know, they have a lot of experience playing at top level rugby. So. And Pete has played in Munster before, once upon a time, so he kind of got my slang and got the way I act very quickly. But look, all good. There's a great bunch there, and we put down a good 8 weeks of pre-season, so everyone's kind of raring to go out for next week. So fingers crossed we can get the W and push on from there.
Let's rewind it back to your childhood. Did you play a lot of sports, and how did you get into rugby?
I played all the sports, man. Football, basketball. I was a football player, right? Found rugby in high school. Was looking for off-season sport, stay in shape. Didn't think it would kind of take over my life, right? It just kind of became my thing, my niche, and haven't looked back.
When you represented the U.S., what was that moment like?
I mean, you can ask any one of them. There's nothing like it. You know, when you represent your country, it's another level. I'm talking to the guy right now, right? Like, you understand everything means something, you know, and every single minute that you put in the gym, on the field, even just meshing with your boys, that all culminates bus time together. Like, when you can put it together and you get your first cap, it's just culmination right there.
You've been now in Colorado for a little while. What's your take on the current setup? There's obviously 14 new players. How's the vibe and how are you guys gelling?
Oh, the team vibe's well, man. We've got such good guys, from Luke White to, you know, we got Nick Boyer. You know, I got to deal with him, but it's a great vibe, right? We kick it all day. We have a full-time setup. Everybody's together. Coaches are switched on when we're on the field, get our jobs done. And if it's not adequate, you know, we hit it again the next day, right? Like, there's always something.
We also had the chance to speak to some of the younger signees about their rugby backgrounds while they attended last weekend's Raptors team and Infinity Park staff event in the Tri-Club. All right, Big Sam, or Samuel, as your mom likes to call you. Welcome to the Colorado Raptors, my friend. Can you give us a little background to your rugby journey and how you ended up here?
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Slade, 22 years old, from New Zealand. Recently I've been playing Mitre 10 Cup rugby for Counties Manukau, but I've also played for Auckland, Manawatu, and I was lucky enough to represent New Zealand at schoolboy level and under 20s.
But give us a background. What positions are you more comfortable with and what are they putting you at so far?
For most of my life I've been playing blindside flanker / lock, a little bit of 8. I think Pete wants me at 8 here, 8-man, and so 8's where I'm going to be for hopefully most of the season.
Another welcome to a new Raptor here in Colorado. Jay, welcome to the snow, my friend. Tell us a bit about your rugby background and your journey.
I'm from Oakland, California. I started playing when I was about 10, 11, and I played for Hayward Griffins. That's one of the clubs I played for back home.
And Tommy, have you always been in the front row dominating people?
No, I actually used to be a fullback back in the days, but don't tell nobody that.
Well, what's exciting about this season? You've obviously watched Major Rugby in the past. You played in the first professional iteration, and you're back again, my friend.
I'm just happy to be back playing professional rugby again, so just ready to get out there and show what Colorado has. Yeah.
Now, Tommy, if you are lurking at the fullback position and they kick through, what are we going to see from you?
Oh, you might see a goose step.
A debut in Major League Rugby at 20 years of age. You just celebrated recently. Congratulations, Mateo. Welcome to Colorado, my friend. You grew up in, Southern California?
Yep.
Tell us a bit about your rugby journey. How did you get started?
Started playing when I was about 12 years old. My best friend's dad owned the local club, so actually grew up playing with and against Ryan James here in SoCal. And then from there, played high school All-Americans, and then after I graduated, moved straight out here. Yep.
Tell me about when you got the offer, how excited were you to come out to represent?
Very ecstatic. I mean, I know a lot of the boys and grew up with a lot of the boys here, so it's a great team environment, great coaches, love everything about the program.
Another fellow stepper to carve it up with the Raptors this season. Mason, tell us a bit about your background and how you got started in the game of rugby.
Well, it started many years ago. I started playing when I was about 4, back in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, and I suppose ever since then, I think, wouldn't know how many years, but yeah, and it's led me all the way to America. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool journey, and I'm looking forward to some cool opportunities ahead.
And tell me about how is Major League Rugby perceived in New Zealand and other countries? I know a lot of people are tuning in. Did you get a chance to see a bit of it?
Yeah, I did, and I think it's because it's growing so fast and it's got a lot of people's attention, and obviously with a lot of New Zealanders coming over here after the Mitre 10 Cup, I think it just gives praise to the comp and how good it actually is. And like I said, it's still growing, but I know a lot of Kiwis that have come over and they said it's good rugby, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Welcome to Colorado. How's your time been here so far?
It's been great. Tough couple of months of pre-season, but absolutely really loved it. Players have been very welcoming, which is great, and just ready to go for the new year.
Tell us about your rugby background in Scotland and where you grew up as well.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town called Kilmacombe, which is about 20 minutes west of Glasgow. Playing school rugby there since I was 8 years old. When I finished high school, essentially, I went into club rugby with the team Glasgow Hawks before moving over to the States, where I played with St. Mary's College in California for 2 years.
Yeah, how did you get that set up? Because that's a great move to get to education and play rugby as well.
Yeah, the opportunity just came up. Like people going to university in America is not a very big thing in Scotland and the UK and as a whole, but it's growing, and we saw an opportunity and we looked up for the best top rugby schools, and St. Mary's was one of them, and it was just a great fit.
Let's go back to your upbringing, where you grew up and how you started in the game of rugby.
So, growing up in Samoa, really, I didn't really, everyone plays rugby in Samoa, so, all the cousins and that all kick the ball around, so I sort of got all your basic skills from that, and then moved to New Zealand when I was about 15, and then really just started playing properly when I was in college, and so yeah, it just really kicked off from there.
And tell me, how did you get into the US? Have you been following Major League Rugby for the last few years?
So last year I got injured. I did my knee, so I've been following the Major League Rugby, and then my agent actually approached me and said, would you be interested in coming over to the States and giving that a go? And because I was born in American Samoa, I've got an American passport, so I was quite lucky, and I made everything sort of all in place, and then just made the move and been enjoying it ever since, really.
One of Colorado's opponents in the preseason was the Austin Herd, a team that has subsequently changed their name, so we decided to ask multiple Raptors about the new moniker. Ready, here we go. First one. What is the new name of the Austin franchise?
It starts with G and it's got about 3 syllables in it.
Correct. What is a Gilgroni?
It's got to be a bull with long horns or something like that.
What is the new name of the Austin franchise?
Gilgronis.
What is a Gilgroni?
It's a longhorn.
What is the new name of the Austin franchise?
I have absolutely no idea.
What were they called before they were changed?
The Austin Herd?
Correct, I'll give you that. What is a Gilgroni?
No idea.
What is the name of the new Austin franchise?
Gilgronis.
What is a Gilgroni?
Not a clue.
What is a Gilgroni?
A Gilgroni, it's a drink from Texas.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What's a Gilgroni?
It's a bevy.
Yeah, you knew that one. Okay, good. With the Raptors season about to get underway, you'll need to stay fully updated on the team with these socials. Facebook and YouTube at Colorado Raptors, Instagram at Colorado Raptors Rugby, and Twitter at CO Raptors Rugby. The Raptors' first regular season opponent will be the SaberCats, and there's a lot of excitement about the matchup in Texas. Looking ahead to the opening game, you mentioned Houston, of course. You guys split 1-1 last year with them. There were some obviously issues in the game, particularly at scrum time. How are you looking to overcome that, and what do you think Houston will bring to the table?
Well, I mean, Houston, a well coached side. Obviously, they've had some turnover there. Not knowing, Coach Healy myself, but Campbell Johnson's in there. Ashley Jones is training, so they've got quite a couple of guys that Steve and myself know, so they're going to be fit, they're going to be well drilled. And as you say, last year they did bring that physical set piece. I think the beauty of that is that we've got a couple of guys who were on the receiving end of that set piece, and they've taken the learnings, as well as we've got a fit Marco rejoining us, again Zach Talofo, experience up front, and again Chad Goff returning, who's had that season under his belt. So we know what they'll bring up front, and we're excited about that. We're going to embrace it, as well as playing that expansive game as well.
The opening game against Houston, give us a bit of insight to that.
We're shaping up nicely. The squad's coming together nicely, and it'll be a tough hit out at Aviva Stadium. We finished there last year. Our last game of the season was in Houston, and it didn't end well for us. So we've got something to sort of back up and to correct with that. And I'm sure the boys are all fired up, and the 14 new fellas we have are going to be fired up to help us achieve that win there at Aviva.
We can't wait, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, Dallin. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the opening game coming up against Houston. Set piece was an issue, particularly at scrum time, but now you're here.
I don't know, because now I'm here, but we all it's not a big job, try to change things and there, but there's because the good thing that I see with these young blokes here, they all get to learn and they all buy into it, and we can improve a lot. Once they realize that how talented and how good they are, it's going to be really, really big.
Well, we can't wait to see you in action. I know you must be hungry, so we'll let you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you,
All the best for the season.
Thank
This weekend, the Colorado Raptors open their 2020 Major League Rugby campaign against the Houston SaberCats on Saturday, February 8th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. These teams split their two meetings in 2019, with the Raptors winning at Infinity Park and the SaberCats taking the contest at Aviva Stadium. That's all for this installment of Raptors Weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with all the highlights from Houston, plus the long-awaited return of the Raptors Try of the Week and Dallin Explains.